There's a couple of questions here, 2 or 3, and I think I'll deal with them one at a time. The first one is regarding the use of markers in reward-based training. And I'll read what this person said. I'd like to ask a couple of questions on training. Can you use clickers and the marker yes together to mark a behavior? For example, the dog's butt hits the ground and you click it. Then you say yes, you pause, and feed. Is that okay? No, it's really not, and I'll explain. Are there certain commands where the clicker is better than marking with the yes? And I'll talk about that too. Now let me explain the way she said this. The dog's butt hits the ground and you click it. Then you say yes, you pause and feed. Those two things are contradictory, at least to the way that we use markers in reward-based training. That doesn't mean that you don't want to or shouldn't figure out your own way of training your own dog. It's your deal to do it. But from the way that we approach it is, when we mark a behavior and we use yes right off the bat, we could use a clicker, but for us, when we mark a behavior, be it with a clicker or yes, that tells the dog, I really like what you just did, and here's a reward for it, and you're done. You don't have to keep doing it. You can get up and move. Usually we'll have them on a leash so that if they do get up and move, they can't lead us, or they'll get up and they'll re-engage with us. When we are done with a behavior, we don't want them running off and playing with the neighbors or whatever. We want them to stay with us and stay engaged. I'm going to say this again. For us, when a dog does a behavior we like, we mark that behavior. And when we mark it, it means, I like what you did, and here's a nice reward for it. Not a piece of kibble, something I like, piece of cheese, piece of meat, whatever. There's no duration to it. So the way she explains it here is, the dog's butt hits the ground, and you click it, and then you say yes, so there's a time frame in between the two. I don't care how close they are. And then you pause, and you feed it. No, that's not the way it works. For you to add duration to a behavior, that's a different command. And for us, in our system, we use the word good, and it works like this. The dog comes out, we're working on a behavior, we ask for a sit, and now this time we're going to want the dog to sit there because we want him to stay sitting longer. So the dog sits, we don't mark that. We say, good, good, and we'll repeat it, good. And we may make them sit there in the beginning for 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and we can extend it out over many, many training periods to 10 seconds to a minute after we do it 100 times or 200 times or whatever your dog needs. But we'll say, good, good. Now we're at the end of how long we want them to sit. And at the end, we'll say yes, or we'll click it. That means we like what you just did, and you can go do what you want now. But we want them to turn around and engage with us, and we have them on a leash so they can't run off. And when we do say yes to end the duration, we'll reward it with a food reward. And like we say in all of our training material, when we reward it, a lot of times we will reward with more than one reward item. We give them a piece of meat, a piece of cheese, and we may give them more than one. We often give them more than one. And we give them random amounts. A lot of times, and we learned this from one of our best friends, Michael Ellis, that if you reward with one reward, and the dog knows that because you always only give him one every time, he gets his reward, and he says, okay, I'm all done. That's pretty interesting over there. Look at look at that good-looking dog over there. I want to go play with it. No, that's not what we want. What we'll do is we turn it into an event. We'll give him 4 rewards. We'll give him 6 rewards. We'll give him 2 rewards. They never know how many they're going to get. So that's the progression of how we approach markers, and be it a click or saying yes, either one is fine. You can also use yes and a clicker for more than one thing. And the way you can do that is, like Cindy said, when she's working training on a behavior that's not close to her, like she wants her dog that's playing over there and she's training random sits at a distance, over there she may use a clicker because the dog's far enough away. And she's progressed step by step by small step on a long line for the dog to sit over there. So she tells the dog, sit, the dog sits, she clicks it, and as soon as she clicks it, the dog is free, and she can either go to it and toss a piece of food, or the dog can get up and run to her and get a piece of food. But the way she approaches it, the things that happen away from her, she'll use a clicker. When she wants to work on behaviors that are close to her, when she wants the dog to sit and focus on her, then she'll say yes. Because she'll say yes, the dog's looking up at her, or the dog, that's backwards. The dog looks up at her, she says yes, and she rewards right there. So 2 different things there. Yes on the clicker, I think I've answered it pretty well. The second thing that this customer has, it's not a customer yet, but she will be. Can I mix up training during the day? For example, start with sit, then move on to down, then move on to stand, and mix in, touch the nose with the hand, a hand touch. Mix in, place command, where the dog's trained to go over and lay on a dog bed. Then go back and start all over again. All the while being different timing and different training things. And will this not confuse the dog? If no, then how long do you stay on one command before moving on to another? By that I mean, do you have a set schedule? Can you send me a schedule of learning the commands, X, Y, Z? Then how many days should I stay on that? Then should I move on to A, B, C? Do that for a day, yada, yada, yada. The answer to that is, it's a very common question. We get it all the time with new dog trainers. And the simple answer is no. There's no set training schedule. No matter who tells you anything differently, there's no set schedule. You have to train your training based on the dog that's in front of you. How much drive does the dog have? What's the attention and engagement level of the dog that you've got? What's your skill level? How much experience do you have in reading what your dog wants? So it's like what I said, dog training is dog dependent. You don't want to have a set schedule that you move from A, B to C all the time, because dogs figure out a pattern. And once they figure out a pattern, they're going to know we're going through A, B, C, and D. I get my piece of food, and then it's more interesting. Look at that over there. Look at this over there. We don't want that. We want the dog to listen to us. We want the dog to be engaged with us. And the only way we can do that is to have random methods of training that are dependent on the dog's engagement with us. So don't be concerned that you have to follow step by step by step on a training schedule, because you're going to end up boring your dog, and that's no good. You want your dog to be out there and engage with you all the time. You want your dog to be bouncing around and saying, hey, what do you got? What should we do? What do I have to do to get that piece of food that's in your pocket that I know is in your pocket? In the meantime, you got it in the other pocket. But that's the attitude that you have to work with. So base it all on your dog's motivation, your goals, your skill level, and being consistent in how you're doing your training. And then this lady wrote back, and this is what's nice too, because every now and then we get people that are, most people are really nice people that are dog trainers. Well, there are some idiots out there. We won't talk about them. I'm not going to talk about them. I'm going to catch hell from Cindy for saying that. But this lady came back and said, thanks so very much. I'm on your 3rd video of pre-puppy training, just starting the intermediate work. I just bought my new puppy home this past Saturday, so all is new to her. I just now have her a Belgian Travern, 9 weeks old. I love Michael Ellis. I was starting with Ed Frawley's video first, which has you in there a lot, Cindy. I'll definitely watch the links you have above. Thank you. I'm overwhelmed right now. She's doing so great. Your videos are all amazing. I highly recommend them to people and friends. We'll be just like Artie and Rush in one day pie. In my dreams, maybe, but we're going to go on to see. Well, those are nice. That's nice feedback that we get from people. And we hope that all of our questions and answers result in the same kind of feedback. So if you have any more interest in any questions in dog training, in breeding, in the health of your dogs, feel free to write Cindy. You don't need to be a customer. Go to the Ask Cindy portal. We've got a lot of online courses, and we have really, really good dog training. We don't try and compete with the online box stores. I never have done that. I've been in business for 40 years. I never will do that. We have people that have been with us for many, many of dogs, lives of their different dogs. So if we can help you, send us an email, send us a ticket, and we will help you.